Hi, I'm Kaisa Tuaminen from InShape Moms, Radiant Moms. I'm really excited to be part of this course, and I'm really grateful to Jenny for allowing me this opportunity to work with her. So my task on this course is to bring in some of my experience. I work here in this studio with moms um, all week long. I currently am coaching about 20 pregnant moms and another 20 postnatal moms. So I'm still hands-on every day in this work. So what I did was I made a fantastic module about birthing. So this course, what sets us apart really is that not only do you learn appropriate exercise and what helps women stay fit and safely, the exercises are effective and efficient, and nutrition and lifestyle and all these things, but you're also going to become little versions of birth professionals. So my task is really to get you to understand that birthing is important and how we can coach women to have the best birth they can. So making exercises really relevant to that goal, but also emotionally. And we need to understand everything about birth really to be able to understand what our clients need. So let me just go over a little bit of what's included in Module 4, which is where my largest portion of this course is. So we start off with birth basics. So you have to understand how birth works, what happens with the pelvis, what happens with the hormones, what's normal in birthing, just so you have a better understanding of what women are going to go through. Then we also talk about birth plans. So women, it's a good idea that they make these plans, and you need to understand all the different things that women need to decide about. So it's not your task to tell them what to do, but it might be your task to give them good sources to find information so they can get or make informed decisions. Then after that, we do a lot of actual exercises. I'll show you what I do here with my moms. I'm giving you the actual sequences that I use for pelvic mobility, for birth preparation exercises. So actual exercises that then can transfer into the day of birth. It can be postures that women use during birthing. I talk about the changes of the pelvis in preparation to birthing and how we can facilitate the babies getting to optimal positioning, thus hopefully um, an easier birth for the mom. So I show you all those exercises. And then I show you a routine that I use with the physio balls, which is really nice and relaxing and can be helpful during labor. I teach you eutonia, a different way of working the pelvic floor. It comes from South America. Then we go through birth tools. So these are things that moms can do to live with those contractions. So I put those in during my classes. So while we're doing an exercise for pelvic mobility, we're also using other tools that can help decrease pain or help relax. So you learn all of those, a huge list of them. Then I go over all of our protocols for the last month of pregnancy. So I show you what we tell our moms to, how we tell them to take care of their nutrition, what they need to do about their exercise, what they need to do about this fetal positioning, etc., how to facilitate birth hormones. All of this is included. I give you the exact same thing I give to my mom and explain to you why each thing is done the way it is. Then the last thing, but probably the most important, actually one of the newest things that I've included with my moms is a task list for partners. And this has been fantastic. I did it with my last group, and I actually have the dads here, and I gave them homework, basically 2 pages of homework of what they can do and what they really should do and where their energy needs to go, especially in the last month of pregnancy, to help moms have a better birth. Because partners can actually make birthing hard. So that's another thing that you can add to your skills is getting the dads prepared. So there you go. Also, besides this module, I help out with some of the other content. So we're really looking at some amazing content in terms of the microbiome, so getting the baby seated properly during birth. We're doing some work with obstetric violence, so you learn what that is, what we can do as professionals to help women avoid becoming victims, really. We'll also we have another webinar talking about brain development and what do moms need to do in pregnancy to have optimal brain development for their babies. So there you go, lots of information. So I hope to see you on the course, and really you won't find anything anywhere near as complete as what Jenny and I have put together.
Okay, this next exercise, it's called eutonia, and it comes from Argentina, and it's a way to work consciousness of the pelvic floor as well as help the tissue become a bit more elastic and prepared for birthing. So you do it, you can do, eutonia means that you work with objects and then touching the body, allowing and helping that area to relax. So with the moms, I've been using this is like a pool noodle that cut in 3 or 4 sections. I actually loan it to them to take home to do the exercise at home. So basically what we need to do is get this in contact with the perineum. And specifically this part here between the anus and the vagina. So the central tendon, yeah, and this is where the pelvic floor stretches to the maximum during birthing. Actually, usually this distance, the anal-vulvar distance between the anus and the vagina is usually between 2 and 3 centimeters. So during birth it stretches to 10. Thankfully we have lots of hormones and that's actually not the painful part. But anyway, so that's the goal, to go work on this tissue here, and especially being conscious of this area. So they start off sitting on a ball on top of the swimming noodle. Yeah, so you have to make sure that they sit in a way that it's the middle, the central tendon that's touching the noodle. Otherwise, because it's uncomfortable, they might go right on top of their coccyx with the posterior pelvic tilt. So they need to sit right there where it's uncomfortable. Yeah, and depending on kind of what women's structure is down below, so if women have kind of bigger labia, then they might need to move those out of the way, or get situated. Okay, so this would be level 1, and you just chill. You can use this as part of kind of a relaxation routine, and with every breath, as you exhale, you let go and relax the glutes and relax everything else, because the tendency is you sit on this and because it hurts, you kind of tense up everything. So we should do the opposite. So as you sit on it, as you breathe, as you exhale, relax more, and little by little you get used to the feeling and you can relax. Okay, and the very first time you do this with women, or now when you do this yourself, at the very end of having sat on this for 5 or 10 minutes, when you take it off, kind of ask them, what do you feel? What do you notice? And it's a really nice exercise because most women, they're afraid of birthing. And one of the fears they have is, how is it possible that this baby is actually the size of I want to say 30 weeks or so of a baby. So they're even bigger than this. So the idea of how does this come out of that, freaks us out, okay? Now we're used to maybe a tampon or a penis or something going into the vagina, but the idea of something so big getting out of there is it freaks us out. So it's a nice exercise because when you have an object that you're sitting on, it ends up actually touching the bony structures. So you actually have more awareness of the bony structure. So when you take this off after you've done 5 or 10 minutes, you notice like a space. You can feel the hole in your pelvis, the structure allows us this hole where the babies come from. They don't come in this little tiny hole of the vagina. It's this big hole that they come out of, and all this tissue, the muscle tissue and the connective tissue, stretches beautifully during birth. So it's kind of a nice exercise to do with women to get them to understand that their body really is capable of birthing a baby, and the structure is big. There's a lot of space there, and we'll talk about this in another video, but this space gets a lot bigger during birth. So anyway, so that's one part of it, to be aware of the size and shape of the bony structure of our pelvis. Then that would be level 1, would be on the ball. You could do it a couple of weeks. And then after that, it's on the ground, which is a lot more intense. So you sit on this roller, or this foam noodle. And the first level is you actually put your hands on the ground and you straighten them, kind of lock them out, so you take some weight off. Okay, because this is, once you start trying this, it's not so comfortable in the beginning. Okay, then little by little, as you relax, not tensing up the butt, so relaxing the glutes, you can relax on top of the noodle. So then that would be level 3. So level 1 on the ball, level 2 with the hands up, level 3 with no hands, and after that, legs out, and after that, it's with movement. Yeah. And then here, you also have to be aware of women who might have any issues with their coccyx. Yeah, so they're not going to be comfortable with their legs open. They're going to be a lot better in here. Women with hemorrhoids. So you have to personalize this work for all the people in your class or in your training sessions. All right, so the other reason that this is helpful is it helps get awareness, like I said, to the area, helps us relax the pelvic floor, which is also important. And then it's, there's no studies or anything, but the people who use this technique say that it helps keep this area, flexible and helps prepare. So I think it's really interesting for the kind of a mental aspect of it. And it also, it's uncomfortable, yeah? So it also helps us realize that with the breath, with other techniques, we can be okay with being uncomfortable. And the kind of stretching feeling in the perineum becomes just kind of normal and natural and daily. So I have my women do this at home, 5 minutes a day or so, or 3 or 4 times a week. One actually, I wasn't good enough with my instructions, and I hadn't put on there the time. I just had said it during class, and one of them, I said, you can take it to work, sit on it at work, because the whole excuse of I don't have any time. So she took it to work, and she sat on it for 8 hours. So do make sure you tell your women, 5 or 10 minutes most. 8 hours is really counterproductive. And she said, after the first 30, 40 minutes, I really didn't feel a thing. I said, yeah, exactly. Not what we want. Okay? So be more specific with your ladies. So 5 or 10 minutes, and you have the different levels. And it's called eutonia.
Hi there, Jenny Burrell from Burrell Education. I thought I'd take a moment to actually just voice over this exercise selection so that I can actually just describe to you my thought processes and the whys for this prescription for releases with the pregnant and postnatal client. So here we go. So, and I also need to say that sort of my map of the world is really, really influenced by Thomas Meyer's 12 myofascial lines. And so when I'm thinking about the releases, I'm thinking, activity to create freedom, to create movement in the back line, the lateral lines, the spiral lines, the front lines throughout the hip complex. And you'll see that literally all the movement involved in these selections will take the client through all the planes of movement, sagittal, frontal, and transverse, and have the client reaching and moving at various lengths of reaches, various heights of reaches, and really getting the client prepared for the life she leads, and hopefully the exercise prescription that we're creating, looks like real life for the client, whether she's pregnant or postnatal. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so there are pregnant people here. There's me, I'm not pregnant, and so there is a potential for the pregnant and the postnatal client. So this is anterior sagittal tilting. So here I've got the viper, and if you can look closely, if you can see, then Laura's feet are inverted, toes are turned in, putting the hamstrings on a pre-stretch. She's got an overhand grip on the viper. Later you'll see me do an overhand underhand grip, but but here we can get some lovely, if I just pause the film, so we're getting some lovely lengthening and mobilization through the hamstrings, through the lats as well, through the low back. And I think here Laura was about 35 weeks gestation, and moving very, very well, and also potential for mobilization through the calves and the hamstrings as well. Okay, so this is a strategy really that takes in the back line, predominantly for the back line tissues. Great. And you can see she's come off sagittal, and this then changes what's happening at the adductors, the hamstrings, and also here the lateral aspect of the pelvis, the hips. Great. So inverted feet and supinated hands. So here I am, if I just start it again. So here, just like Laura, my feet are inverted and I've got this overhand grip. And if I just continue, and I'm just going directly sagittal, and then you'll see in a second I then switch to this underhand grip. And can you see, by turning into the underhand grip, then I'm putting the the lats on a further pre-stretch. So if you supinate the hands, you put the just stop the tape a second. If you supinate the hands, you put the lats on a further pre-stretch. We've put inverted the feet, hamstrings on the pre-stretch. So we're just adding, pre-stretch to already a great stretch. If you were doing this with your feet directly sagittal, and the hands with an overhand grip, there's a world of difference for the intensity and just the sense of movement in those backline tissues. So give it a go with overhand, and then give it a go with underhand grip, and then same with the feet. Try with inverted, and then try straight ahead. Okay. And it's all these lovely tweaks that really do mean that you just get so much more bang for buck for these movements. And as I said in the blog, it's for me that ooh and the ah factor is huge, and clients associating their stretching part of their session as something wonderful and juicy and rewarding means that they're likely to then adhere to their homework prescription, as opposed to thinking, as I said before, that like they're doing penance. Okay, this is anterior sagittal tilt with a frontal wave. So yeah, I think this is me again. Okay, so I'm using the Viper, and I should have gotten a better camera angle here, but you can see I'm driving the Viper. So this is the drive. I'm driving the Viper anterior sagittal, and then I'm driving my arm into the frontal plane. And if you look at my hip, if I just started, boom. Okay, so you can see my hip there. I am actually driving my hip in the opposite direction. So great sense of release and freedom through creating freedom through these lateral lines. If I swapped sides, and then also for the thoracic back, this here movement and driving the Viper into this anterior sagittal plane, then creating some freedom around the scapula and thoracic back. Okay, the thoracic spine, sorry. Okay, so lovely and rhythmical, and it's just such a lovely and of course the hip flexors as well, and the quads. And what's great about this is that we're creating freedom in the hips in this frontal plane, and also here in the sagittal plane. So it's just an amazing multitasker, and lovely and rhythmical. Okay, so now a yogic wave arm line opener. So we're using the Viper for stability, but then you'll have a look at what I'll do later with this with the hand holding the Viper. So let's just talk through why. Let's do the arms first. Bump. Okay, so here we're opening up the arm lines into the pectorals as I come down, then creating, I'll do it here, sorry, there. So as I come down, then creating some thoracic rotation and also just some freedom again around the scapulars and that very upper back. Now I dropped my hand down, and it doesn't really change too much what's going on here at the arm lines into the pectorals, but boy, does it make a difference to what's going on at the adductors here. So if you can see, then there's a lot more movement, and when I'm actually performing this, when I'm actually performing this movement, you can feel the drive through the adductors as I'm coming up to the highest position with the arm in the air. So have a go at that. Try with the hand higher and then try with the hand lower. I might just pull this back. Give me a sec. Great. Okay, so let's go. So try with the hand higher here, holding the top of the viper or any other object like this, and then try with the hand low and just feel the difference for the adductors. It's amazing. So again, really multitasking. And I love this. This is a band halo. And here we're really, think about the spiral lines and just getting some rotation at the ankles, knees, hips, shoulder girdle. And it feels great. It just feels great. And I know that's sort of not highly scientific, but for the pregnant and the postnatal client who are changing, well, definitely the pregnant client changing rapidly. That lady in that video was about 35 weeks, and by this point we're starting to get stuck, soft tissue, and the need for this mobilization and this pulling out is almost daily. I would say, in an ideal world, a pregnant woman should be getting a massage daily, but at least if we create these kind of strategies for them, they can quite easily, help themselves. You can give them these kind of exercises for, these type of releases for homework. You can video yourself doing them and then give them for homework. Okay, so let's press on. This is a crossbody lateral tilt with an overhand grip. Go back to Laura here. And so if we just hold there, okay, so obviously you can see then the freedom potential here and the release potential for the adductors. Laura has an overhand grip, and so this overhand grip will then that then will vibrate up to the shoulder girdle and this upper back area, and again create some potential for release up there. And again, lovely and rhythmic, great way to sort of warm into the main session. And I'll just let her do her thing. So can you see there's a degree of rotation there? So we're getting some of that lumbar and thoracic rotation. And just generally doing something so much more meaningful than, say, that static adductor stretch that many people are doing. So here, a whole body, a whole integrated affair, rather than these very static, isolated movements. Okay, inverted foot, sky reach with anterior sagittal tilt. Okay, let's see what we got. Yeah, it's me. Okay, so if you can see here that Laura has, her back foot is inverted. Okay, this inversion of the back foot will change what's vibrated up here into the anterior hip. And by inverting that foot, we then start to get some release for more of the lateral hip, sort of TFL, but definitely the anterior hip as well. So have a tweak with that, have a play with that, and start inverting that back foot, and then see the difference that it makes. There is a video coming after this where I do a side version of this, and as I said, Laura is 35 weeks here and moving so well, and I think you need to give the pregnant clients a lot of confidence to move and to have them feel like it's very natural. Many of them will have been scared off of stretching, for in mortal fear of stretching, which is just so sad. Okay, so so she's then using the arm as a driver, driving posterior sagittal, and then the viper as a driver, driving anterior sagittal. We have some release potential here for around the scapula with this arm, and then here, this driving up with the opposite arm is then creating more release potential here in the opposite side hip. So think of those slings, yeah? Okay, if I carry on playing this, then I think then I added a version when she was turned to the side. And incidentally, have a tweak with that palm as well, and turn that palm to the sky, palm flat to the sky. And again, that then creates a break in the arm lines, creates a bit more tension, and you can feel then the greater potential for release with that palm flat. So next time when you do it, when you try this, try with this palm flat. So you can see the foot's inverted. She's driving forward, anterior sagittal with the viper, that little bit of load driving her forward, and the other hand driving up. Okay, so that was a little peek into the whys. I often think that sometimes people put videos up, but they don't actually say why and why they're doing the action. And so then, sometimes as fitness professionals, we're just copying an exercise without actually knowing what we're trying to affect. And when we are able to explain to the client, kind of what should they be feeling, and then they go, oh yeah, I've got this, or even, sometimes, oh, I don't get this. It gives you a chance to either show the client that the exercise is worth doing, the technique is worth doing, or if they don't get it, then it gives you an opportunity to just quickly do a switch and find something else that they do get. So, us being able to explain to the client where they should be getting it and the worth of the exercise also helps them to become partners in the worth of performing the exercise. So I hope that has been so helpful to you, and I hope to see you very soon. Lots of online courses, so you can train and study with me wherever you are in the world, or join my Facebook group, or just hook up with me on Facebook, whatever, but see you soon. Okay, bye bye.